All right, welcome everybody to ODC, of course, known to everyone as Off the Cuff. I'm your host with the most, Big Jefe, and I'm here with my bro host. Yes, I said bro host. Bro host. We're gonna be a little more off the cuff than normal today. We had a whole episode ready for you yesterday, but we ended up having technical difficulties. So it's Sunday, January 24th, and this is the second episode of ODC Season 2. Let's get into it, shall we? We got another guest for you. He's an internet buddy of mine whom I've known for many years. And I want to welcome him ODC style to the show, Mike Anthony.
Mike Anthony.
What's up, man?
I gotta say, when he told me Mike Anthony was coming onto the show, I was like, oh, you know what? That sounds like an actor's name, man. Is he Hollywood or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
So there's been
I'm honored.
Yeah,
I've listened to all of your episodes from season 1, so now I'm a part of the show. It's interesting.
Finally, someone. Finally. Yeah, I'm glad, man. Thank you.
Now, before you continue there, bro, let's ask him real quick, right? And I guess we can edit out his response if it's negative. So what'd you think of our season 1?
I thought it was interesting. You touched on the different topics. I like the fact that, y'all have different viewpoints, so it's not like a straightforward episode, I find that interesting, because most things, the two hosts kind of agree with every little thing, and it doesn't add any flavor to the show. So
cool. I appreciate that. I get on Jeff's nerves all the time.
I was gonna say, well, you don't get on my nerves. You just, I like the fact that you play devil's advocate, and that's why I added that to the show. And I think he's right. I think it's a good dynamic, So I hope everybody else out there enjoys it as much as you do, Mike. So I want to talk about, and I want to preface this by saying we're not doctors. These are just our opinions. We're not professional, COVID analysts, if you will. But there's been a lot of talk about this COVID vaccine lately, and I wanted to know what you think about it. And do you think it'll actually help?
See, one of the things that there's plenty of things that I'm skeptical about, but the fact that it takes 2 shots, and they said that it's still 95% effective, it doesn't give me, because adding something to your body, you want it to be 100%. You don't want to hear 95%. And then you see all these videos of people fainting or people passing away after taking the shot, after the vaccine. And it definitely doesn't leave any sense of optimism in my eyes.
To that effect,
right.
I gotta mention that reminded me when you just said that, Mike. That reminded me of when I went into boot camp. They have a shot. It's a penicillin shot, I believe, and it's supposed to kill off anything that you got wrong with you. We refer to it affectionately as the ass shot. Super long needle, thick, and they would put it right in your ass. And a lot of people would pass out. Where they administered these shots was in a padded room, looked like a gym wrestling, like a wrestling type of scenario, with the mats on the floor.
Right.
They warned people that they would pass out. Sure enough, a couple of them did. But the question that I have for you playing devil's advocate is, how many of those people passed out just because of the needle?
See, that's what the media won't get into.
Right.
Because, it kind of happens, like the one nurse, almost happened instantaneously. Like within a few minutes of her taking the shot, she just passed out, and then they had to make sure she was all right. And it's just weird. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't give me much optimism. Honestly, I mean, in my opinion, the COVID itself is it's a respiratory issue where the mucus buildup hardens, and most people suffocate and then they die. That's why they put them on ventilators. And with the whole ventilator aspect, I don't see where they are trying to treat the people for the mucus buildup. They're just trying to pump air into their lungs. And that's why you hear a lot of stories of even the nurses that got on video, nurses and doctors stating that, the ventilators are not helping. So, I mean, I have my own remedies, but, that's for a different segment on this.
On this topic. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. My wife and I, we don't even really take shot because of all
I don't
the
either. And I get flu, what looks like flu symptoms every year, and no big deal. Then a week's time,
yeah, it's usually not it's just a cold.
like a cold,
Yeah. Yeah. We've been
sound
lucky.
like a commercial or anything, but I say NyQuil, man. NyQuil.
You're right. NyQuil.
Exactly. Get that shit out your system, and
you know what my wife does? She has this Vicks vapor thing, and it just pumps out into the air. A bunch of humid. What is it called? Humidifier.
With the vapor, with the eucalyptus. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. And I love the smell of Vicks, but my wife hates it, so she sleeps in the next room while I'm over here.
Anytime I get sick like that, where I phlegm, congestion, on my throat or chest or what have you, I feel it in the morning when I get up. You can kind of feel it, because it's been sitting there for a while, and you feel it in your esophagus somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as nasty as this may sound to our listeners, what I do is I go and I brush the shit out of my tongue, man. Get that toothbrush way down there, to gag. And in that gag reflex for me, it just coughs all this shit up.
Yeah.
And within 2-3 days, I'm good.
Right. Yeah, because you got to, that's what I tell my kids. You got to get that out. You can't just keep swallowing it or, as nasty, like you said, as nasty as that sounds. Every time you cough or you sneeze or whatever, something, you got to get that out, man.
Give you another home remedy that a lot of people just don't think it works. But it works for me, and it's worked for my kids, and, they hate it, but it works. It's almost instant.
And what is it?
Wonton soup. Now, hold on. I get large wonton soup, but without the wontons.
And just
the wonton just doesn't taste right, and it doesn't go down right. But the broth is what I'm looking for. Now, here's the key. This is the key to the home remedy, okay? It is hot pepper oil. You ask them to give you wonton soup with hot pepper oil in it.
Oh, yes.
Now, fair warning, when you take that, it's hot as a motherfucker.
Nice. And it cuts that shit all up.
Not hot as in temperature, but hot as spicy.
Yeah. Spicy as fuck.
and when it's coming out of you, your ass is going to be on fire. But it will make you sweat when you're taking it. And within a day,
but all that stuff
see you going extreme.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, one thing is that I stopped eating Chinese food 4 years ago, so I got rid of that. But I would just have tea with lemon and honey, and sometime I'll add a Halls into it and let it, evaporate, and then just keep drinking that. But then I just try to cough out my lungs, as crazy as it sounds. And it might sound like I'm dying,
Yeah.
but I'm actually like, you know.
Right. That's what it sounds like to my kids.
Now that you mentioned
Like,
that
Daddy,
as
you
well,
okay? You dying?
Mike, I got another home remedy for you. This is a family home remedy for my mom.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm originally from Cape Verde. It's an archipelago off the west coast of Africa. About 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers from Senegal. Okay. And there we produce our own version of rum. We refer to it affectionately as grog.
I remember grog.
It'll burn your esophagus as you're drinking it, but everybody loves it. Now, I'll tell you this, that the old timers always call it medicine. It's medicine. So, the old timers, back there, you get a little cold here. Have a shot of this. This is gonna make you better.
Yeah, my dad used to say stuff like that. Now, not that I've known him that much, but he used to tell me to, drink some whiskey.
Like some alcoholic type shit. Okay. My mom, what she used to do when I was like extremely sick when I was a kid, she'd take the grog, she'd put it in a frying pan, and she'd light it. Okay. You have a nice blue colored flame to it, and she'd add sugar to it, along with a cup of lemon juice that she would squeeze out from the lemon itself. None of this bottled stuff. Just squeeze it out from the bottle, from the lemon itself. She'd burn the grog a little bit, not a whole lot. Add sugar to it, and then mix it all in. Tell me to drink it all. When I was a kid, I'm like, Mom. Yeah.
Are you trying to poison me, Mom?
No. I'm coming down with something, Mom. I need that medicine.
Oh, that's what you would do? Because you wanted it?
But let me tell you, it would make me feel better. But if you think about it, Robitussin is not that much different.
Because most medicine have some type of alcohol in it, right?
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that we should be looking into. Maybe we could patent something,
Yeah. Honestly, we are.
It'd be a more natural thing, wouldn't it? Compared to the COVID vaccine.
COVID remedy. 100% proof.
Yeah, right. I'm making those claims, though.
We're in an information age where,
go ahead,
honestly, you could look up different things to actually fight off any type of ailment. COVID itself, from what I've heard, a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin D, zinc, these things. I don't know if you're familiar with sea moss, but sea moss gives you 92 minerals that your body needs. You just, you take this stuff regularly, you won't get sick as, or at least it won't be as long. Elderberry is good for keeping your body right, so to speak. So there's things that we could take where you don't have to inject foreign materials into your body to help you with something that may not even be as effective as it should be.
Mike, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, the CMOS thing.
Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say the CMOS thing. We had Rob Tehran on the show. He was talking about CMOS last season. And so I found that really interesting. I just never followed up on it, unfortunately. But it's interesting.
I actually had some this morning. I made some tea. And it's in a gel form. Well, you can get it in different form, but I have it in a gel form in a jar, and I just scoop some out and put it in the tea water, let it dissolve, and drink.
Man, I should have had Rob on today too with you. He would have loved to talk about this.
Let me tell you, I'm glad that you touched on that, because I'm a firm believer also in deficiencies of natural items that we should be getting that we're not getting, like magnesium and zinc and vitamin D3 and so forth. And I take that same approach myself. And a lot of issues, medical issues, could be resolved by just taking in the adequate amounts of minerals and vitamins that the body needs. Like with magnesium, I use magnesium for myself to help to maintain anxiety levels to a minimum. jitteriness, focus, and things of that nature. But like what people don't understand is, yeah, you can go out there and get a 500 milligram tablet, of magnesium, but they have magnesium in different forms, like magnesium sulfate, oxide, and so forth. But the body doesn't actually absorb all 500 milligrams. It only takes, on average, 1%.
Really?
And it discards the rest of it. Yeah.
Really?
And in order for magnesium to work, then you also need calcium in your system in order to be able to absorb it. Otherwise, you're not going, you're just throwing it away. It comes in one end and it goes out the other.
Wow.
So then you have the issue of serum levels. You have to get enough in your serum levels, before it starts taking any kind of effect.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've
Interesting.
been into is water. Now, my wife gets on me about water all the time. Well,
What is that?
she hates going out shopping with me because I'll stand there for 30 minutes researching online. Which water should I get? And what's the difference between purified, distilled, filtered, you know what I mean? Alkaline water.
Mm-hmm.
What are the differences? I mean, there's so much different water out there. Back in the day when we were kids, I'll tell you, you had some brand names and that was it. Nestle, Evian, Pure Life, whatever, and water was water, right? You just kind of, it's one of those things that you just take for granted. Water is just water. But a lot of times the body believes that it's hungry, or at least you perceive that you're hungry. And in actuality, what it is you're dehydrated and you're thirsty. But then what kind of water do you take?
Yeah, you used to tell me that when we were kids.
Yeah. That's actually a study that came by accident by a Turkish doctor, or Syrian doctor, where, he was in prison for political, affiliations. Basically, his father was a politician, and, his regime didn't prevail, so therefore he's an enemy of the state, and they target everybody in the family, even the kids. So this doctor guy was arrested and imprisoned for over 5 years. And, the other inmates are coming to him saying, listen, this guy's really sick, and, he's a doctor, so do something, right? He said, the only thing I could do is just tell him to drink water. And I told him, every hour, drink 2 glasses of 8 fluid ounces of water. And then he noticed that there was a difference in his person, in his physiological state. And so he started paying more attention to the effects of water, different combinations, how you take it, how often you take it, the dosages that you take, and things of that nature. So he wrote a whole book. So even though he was in prison, he came out with a good study that he published, actually. And it had been stated that in some forms of cancer, not all, just by drinking adequate amount of water, it would reverse the effects.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to it, and I'm summarizing from 20 years ago when I heard this on NPR.
Oh, let's be honest, you're simplifying things.
In my own way.
As only ULiKA can mansplain.
But he did say, like, for weight loss, every time you think you're hungry, have 2 glasses of water, 2 8-ounce cups of water. Wait 15 minutes. If you still feel hungry, then you are actually hungry. If not, you were just thirsty.
Right.
And that in itself is the money maker for him.
I might have to try that.
Try it. I actually tried it, and it was enlightening, actually. At first, it's hard. It's hard to guzzle down all that water, but I don't know if you remember, bro, in boot camp, you have your 2 canteens. They're about quart sized or whatever. And, they always told you to take a hydration break. And in that hydration break, they expected you to drink the whole damn thing. The reason being is, what they said is like, if you just drink some of your water in your canteen, then, it'll swish and swash inside that bottle, and it'll make noise, and the noise could carry in an open field for miles, right?
Oh, so that was the original.
That was the original reasoning that they used to say. But The scientific reason is because that's what it is. You got to drink it all at once, in order for it to make any kind of effect. But then at the same time, it's just like when the commander passed out in Louisiana, he washed away all his electrolytes. So now you have that other component where you have to have electrolytes. Where do you get electrolytes? Well, something as simple as salt will give you some electrolytes. So getting back to my original point about the water, I prefer to drink alkaline water. Apparently, there's a pH balance as well. I mean, every liquid has a pH balance, but our bodies also have to have a certain pH balance. So you want to try and get more on the alkaline side in order to get hydrated than just drinking regular water. And apparently, purified water is just like super filtrated water, and all it is nothing more than H2O, just the liquid itself with nothing in it, so it has no value to it. But they're conflicting different approaches to different types of water. Mike, I hope I've given you something now that you might be maybe Googling as I'm talking, and you're probably going to look into it later on and come back on the show and say, "I'll tell you what."
Yeah, I've heard those things before. I've also heard where you can add, if you even just pour a little bit of lime into your water, it alkalizes it, or if you add baking soda to it, it alkalizes your water. So yeah, I'm privy to such information.
Hey, guess what, guys?
Yeah.
So I'm sending an invite to Ron to join the show.
Okay.
Cool.
He's available.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and actually, I wanted to tell you guys and also to the listeners that we're planning on doing a live cast. I think it's going to be cool, kind of like the Instagram thing, I guess, where people can actually listen in as we're doing it live. So that'll be cool, man. Just to let everybody know out there. But yeah, I told him we were talking about the sea moss thing, and he said he just drank it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I said our guest did too, right before he came on the show.
All right, so I know I've taken up quite a bit of time off of the show, so let's get back into the topic at hand of COVID. I'm gonna just tell you my general feeling about it. I think vaccines take years to be developed, and this was developed way too quick. And I find it also interesting how all these companies got to the finish line just about the same time. And that makes me leery of taking one. I'll be honest, I'm not even going to take it, to be honest. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit and see what happens. I know that they didn't use President Trump when he was president, former President Trump, as a guinea pig when he got COVID. And then, you have cases of individuals that, and the media portrays things exaggerated, in my opinion. And, they focus on how many deaths related to COVID. Now, that related to COVID, those are the key words, right? Who's to say that Joe Blow, who just went into the hospital because he wasn't feeling well, and of course they test him for COVID, he's positive, right? Well, he died of a heart attack for something else. Would that have happened whether or not he had the COVID virus? Because you hear a bunch of people get COVID, 5,000 or so, 200 deaths related to COVID. Okay, COVID might have accelerated their natural life process, or accelerated some ailing type of situation that they were already dealing with, but is COVID to blame for those deaths? Now, you tell me that someone who's perfectly healthy, no signs of anything, no diagnosed anything, and he goes into the hospital and he dies out of complications due to COVID. Okay, I get that. But they just say COVID related. They don't say COVID. They say COVID related.
Just to let you guys know, Rob is on now. Rob, you there?
What's cool? It's Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rob. Happy New Year. Good to have you back on the show.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Rob, I got Mike Anthony on. He's our guest. So, Mike, this is Rob. He's on the show.
Yes, I just had my daily morning dose of sea moss. Got to get those minerals in the body. What's going on, Mike?
I'm good. Yeah, I had some earlier myself. I'm not like too familiar with the whole dynamic of it. I just
You
know
know
that
what?
it's
And
good
that's
to
good
take,
enough.
so I just bust it down.
I did do some research, Rob, on it, and but it was earlier on when you had mentioned it, and then I totally forgot about it like an idiot.
Oh,
But I saw that
careful
there's some
with the
fake
CMOS
stuff
because
out there
just like
too.
anything, there's always a way to fit or duplicate it, or you know what I'm saying. So what people been doing is they've been taking the original version of the CMOS and they've been like
Mhm.
hydro producing it and
Hydroponic?
yeah. So they're putting it in like pool and trying producing it in pools, and that's not good. It's a hybrid version. You don't know what kind of chemicals were already in the pool, vice versa. And again, the whole purpose of consuming the CMOS is because it's a natural resource that provides the natural minerals that come directly from the earth. Yes, to try to replace your backyard pool is like it's
Right.
not going to work.
Okay. So what's better, gel or?
Chop it up, maybe sprinkle it on a salad. However, I turn it into a gel, and I use the most simplest process. I just I'll take like a bottle
Okay.
of water, spring water, make sure it's spring water, and I'll put it in a mason jar, like a regular like a spaghetti where spaghetti sauce comes in a jar, one of those jars. Clean one of those out. They're resealable and airtight. They're a mason jar, right? So I'll take one of those.
Mhm.
I'll dump the water in,
Hmm.
and I'll take about 10 grams, 10 dry grams weight of the sea moss, and I'll throw it in. After I rinse it out, I'll throw it in there, and I'll let it sit for maybe overnight. And by the next day,
Mhm.
it's absorbed. It's like maybe almost like 5 to 7 times the size of what it originally was. And then I'll take that and I'll throw it in a blender, and I'll let the blender sit there for a good minute to make sure it gets all of it. And then I'll throw it in the fridge, and it turns into a gel. And that jar lasts me a week,
Wow.
and I'll take anywhere from 1 to 2 tablespoons every morning. And literally, you can buy a pound of it for like $40 on Amazon. And again, a pound, and I'm telling you, I'm only using 10 grams, and 10 grams is lasting me a week. So a pound could last you a few months. For $40, you could have CMOS for like 3 months.
Wow.
And you're providing your body with, your body's made up of 102
Wow.
minerals,
Okay.
and CMOS contains 92 of those 102 minerals.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, what about a commercialized
Um,
version of it? You know, like in a tablet form or
Honestly,
something like that. Would you recommend any particular
yeah,
brand?
the thing with that,
As
it's like it's the same thing with modern science, and you guys are talking about COVID. I got it to hear a little bit. It's the same principles of what we're dealing with now. We once lived in a world where all ailments and illnesses were cured naturally, and then to try to simplify it, they tried to extract those elements and make synthetic versions of it. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work the same. In fact, the binding elements that happen naturally in nature don't happen the same when man tries to do it. So it becomes a different version. So yeah, you might be able to get somewhat of the element that you're trying to get. However, what else are you consuming? And that's the part they don't disclose. And that's the problem with modern science. So that's the problem with taking a synthetic version or a capsule version, unless it's done by someone that's using natural natural processes, that's different. But if it's going to be something that's going to come out of a lab, and and then you read the label and you see all these other words that you can damn near hardly read, let alone pronounce. You know what I'm saying? That's when you gotta be like, that. And again, when it comes to our bodies, if we believe that we were created, if we were created by another, even if we evolved, it doesn't matter. Like all the science proves that we have all the elements of the earth, right? So from the simple perspective, that's the best way to approach it. You know, if you can get the natural version, the more to its purest form, that's going to be your best bet.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back after this word from our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to make your own podcast? Anchor can help. It's free. The creation tools allow you to record and edit right off your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from it too, with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So we're back. Thank you for joining our show, everyone. We're going to go ahead and hit the entertainment portion of the show. And not to say that deaths are entertainment, but that is our first segment. Well, sometimes. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But
why? You think you're better than me?
So last week, though, my bro host, as I call him, did something beautiful. He mentioned that the Capitol police officer who unfortunately got killed and he died from his injuries, or I should say he got injured and then he died from his injuries that he sustained on January 6th when the Capitol was invaded by these domestic terrorists. That was a good tribute, and I found out that his name is Brian Sicknick, or was. Mr. Sicknick was struck the fire extinguisher as a violent mob flooded the halls of Congress, according to 2 law enforcement officials. He died later that day in the hospital. He was only 42. And another officer that they probably didn't mention, Howard Liebengood, 51 years old. He took his own life afterwards. So it's a sad situation all the way around, man. But I'm glad that you took the time, bro, to mention him, because I do focus a lot on celebrity deaths.
Yes, you do. And I apologize to all our listeners. I'm really bad with names.
That's all right. Not everybody can be as good as me, you know. I'm just kidding.
I'll let you have that one, bro.
Oh, thanks. Hey! So I'd also like to note, though, and this wasn't a celebrity, but he was, my uncle, who I didn't mention last time, but my uncle Eddie, I don't know if you met him, bro, but he passed away last month, right around Christmas time, I believe. But he was a good guy. He was always willing to lend a hand, as he did for me many times in the past. When I ran out of gas, I was like 21 years old, my first car or whatever, and I was scared. I didn't know what was wrong with the car. He came out there in the middle of 295 in Maryland, and busy, 2-way traffic or whatever, 2-lane traffic. And he came in and said, "Hey, you need gas. Let me go get it for you." So, always trying to help me out, man. I did this business when I was younger. You know how we all get into these scammy businesses, and I'm trying to make money here. And it turned out it was a scam business that was selling little fire extinguishers. And, he was gracious enough to go, "Hey, I'll buy something from you." He was trying to help me out. So thank you, Eddie. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Uncle Eddie.
Yeah.
He lived in Maryland, right?
Yeah, Laurel, Maryland. Yep.
Laurel.
He was married to my Aunt Sonia.
Sonia's husband? Oh,
yes.
Man, he was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good dude, man.
I met him when I think, just about to go off to the Navy. We went down to D.C. We went to go visit Lydia and Sonia.
Yeah. And my cousins, Eric and Megan, that's their dad. So I love you guys. I just want to send you guys condolences again. And to his family as well. So, what I don't know, actually. I when people pass away, I have this thing, like when I was in the Army, my commander's son got killed in a motorcycle accident. He was only 27 years old. And I had a hard time. I usually have a hard time coming up to those people that lost others or loved ones, because I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm invading their mourning. And so I didn't really ask my cousins. I didn't really ask my aunt what he died of. So I don't know if that's just a me thing or other people do that too, but I just feel like it's intrusion, sometimes. But sometimes it might be a good way for them to talk about it too. They might need that. But
my condolences. I'm going to text Derek later and let him know I just found out. I'm sorry.
okay, yeah, thanks. That's cool. He would appreciate that. Also, we have I don't know if you guys know who Phil Spector was. He's a famed.
Sounds like a character out of James Bond.
Yeah, it does. Phil Spector.
Actually, Spectre was the villain organization in the James Bond flicks.
Really?
Yeah, it was
They got the name
Special Executives Cooperation for Extortion and all kinds of stuff. I forgot what it actually stands for, but it's something like that.
Well, he was a famed music producer and convicted murderer.
You sound like you like that.
He killed his wife.
See?
I don't know if you guys heard of that, but he got convicted of killing his wife, man. I think he invited her to dinner or something and set the whole thing up and everything, man. It's crazy.
What?
He was 81.
COVID-related
Our friend
items.
COVID. Yep.
Yeah, getting back to that whole situation there where like he invited his wife and killed her and shit. There's a long-standing it's one of those anecdotes that happen in real life. I'm not sure exactly where it is. It could be Alabama, it could be Kentucky, somewhere nearby in this area, right? There's a law in a small town that says that you could beat your wife.
What the hell did you just say?
Specifically, it says you can beat your wife in front of the courthouse steps.
Oh, shit.
And the law says between a certain time and a certain time on a Sunday, and the stick, you can beat your wife with. You can't beat it with your hands. You can beat it with a stick. The stick has to be X amount of inches long or whatnot. And so this lawyer takes his wife and invites her out, so on and so forth. And he beats his wife with the stick in front of the courthouse steps. He gets arrested, knowingly he was arrested, right? And they took the evidence and all that other kinds of crap. And they had to let him go because that law was still active.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
And so he got away with it. It didn't say you could kill your wife, but it said you could beat your wife with a stick in front of the courthouse step. Yeah. It's got to be like 9 and 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings.
Wow.
It's one of the laws that it's still there.
He's like, no, officer, I'm within my time limit here.
But that's actually real.
I'm within my rights, officer.
In this country, Lord, a law that was allowed federally across all this. Yep, it could. You could beat your wife with a stick. No, it was no token at the. So it was token. Yeah, it was token the rule of thumb. Yeah, you could look it up.
Oh my God, the rule of thumb. Okay, gotcha. Wow. Yeah, that'd be an interesting segment too. Like looking up stuff that laws like that, and oh man. Or where saying came from.
I'm looking at the people. I think I got a stick just like that.
Hey, don't go beating your wife.
Today happens to be Sunday.
Yeah. That's foul, man. Look, we're gonna get we already have a little bit of female listeners. I want more female listeners.
We are not saying that we agree with any of these.
This is not what intended
rules. We do not.
All right.
Correct. We don't agree. So you said the rule of thumb. I look at my thumb right there that my dog's playing with. All right, so I'm just saying it fits.
I'm gonna go on. So the latest and probably most notable death is Hank Aaron.
Oh, right.
They used to call him Hammering Hank.
Wow.
So baseball player, of course, he passed away yesterday at 86. Hank Aaron was born February 5th, 1934 in Mobile, Alabama, on the wrong side of segregation. He died on Friday in the same place as a national icon. I mean, that's impressive, isn't it? I mean, so, yeah, due to how great of a hitter he was called Hammering Hank. And he broke Babe Ruth's home run record. And as he approached that record, he endured racist hate mail and threats against his life. After he broke the record, they basically stopped harassing him as much. But or why did he have to endure that? You know what I mean? I mean, just because he was a black guy, you know, they didn't want a black man breaking a white man's record, I guess. There's a total different time, but at the same time, it's kind of the same as now. It's just different ways that they show their hate. But anyway, yeah, he passed away after getting the first COVID vaccine, which kind of made me think like, or rethink the COVID vaccine that we were talking about. But I mean, he rest in peace.
Did they say it was COVID related?
They did not say that, but you know.
But they made it a point to mention after he took his first vaccine.
Mm-hmm. And so lastly, Mr. Larry King. He actually passed away yesterday at 87. And I didn't know this, but he was in the hospital with COVID for like a week. And yeah, so he ended up passing away from, I guess, from COVID. I don't know. I'm not, a doctor, like I said. But he is a legendary TV and talk show and radio talk show host and paid spokesman whose work was recognized with awards, including 2 Peabody Awards, an Emmy, 10 Cable Ace Awards. He was famously known for having been married, get this, 8 times to 7 different women. So he married one twice. He was born in
What I want to know is...
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. He was born in 1933 in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn in the house, Mike. And died in Los Angeles, California. On January 2nd, he had revealed that he had been hospitalized for 10 days. Not a week, but it was 10 days. Earlier in a Los Angeles hospital after testing positive for COVID-19. So I mean, he rests in peace as well. Go ahead, bro. You were going to say?
Well, first of all, I'd like to start off with, maybe you and my wife should talk a little bit more. Because this morning, I didn't even open up my eyes, and she wakes me up with telling me that, Larry King died.
Oh, really?
Holding a cup of coffee. It wasn't even for me. It was for her. And,
so then you said, oh, man, you're turning into Jeff.
That I was like, oh, really? You woke me up to tell me that?
You're turning into Big
And then I tried to go back to sleep. I kept thinking about it. I said, really? He died? But the other question that I had that I really wanted to know is, what brand of cigarettes did he smoke on his shows? Because, he must be the only guy on TV that still smokes on TV.
Well, he was Larry King. They had to, they said, hey, man, it's your show. 87.
Right. He died. Right. That's like, what was that old guy back in the 80s? He always had a cigar. He was good friends with.
You talking about Kojak? No.
No. Skinny, little short. Humongous glasses, always in a tuxedo.
Did you say a Speedo?
Nope.
I thought you said Speedo.
I didn't say Speedo, bro. Don't get me started on Speedos. I got stories about Speedos, but no.
We got stories about everything.
Tuxedo.
Ain't that right, Rob? We got stories about everything, don't we?
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
I used to wear a tuxedo. It was always smoking cigars. Really big ones, too.
Oh, George Burns. George Burns?
I knew it was a Burns.
Yeah. Oh, God.
George Burns, yeah. Yeah, he looked to be like 99 or something like that.
Wow. Yeah. He looked like freaking Mr. Magoo back in the day. Those big old glasses. Yeah, he died I think he died at 100.
Larry King made it, 84?
87 years old, yeah. Larry King. So
87. Well, let me tell you, we don't have cameras in front of us, but I am smoking right now.
Lung crusher. Man, don't do that. Don't go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Focus, dude.
Yeah, I quit smoking. I thank God I did, man. So now let's take a ride into the past, as we do on this date.
I came here in a time machine that you invented. Now I need your help to get back to the year 1985.
And this baby hits 88 miles per hour. You're gonna see some serious shit.
Whoa, this is heavy. The time machine? What is it, DeLorean?
You're You're gonna see some serious shit.
So in history, on this date, January 24th, 1984, let's say, Apple Computer. Yeah, you were alive.
I was alive.
Apple Computer Incorporated
came
unveiled its revolutionary Macintosh personal computer. Yep, that's what started it all, I guess. Well, actually, they had computers before that, but I think that one was the first personal one, right?
Well, the first well, no, because they had the Apple and the Apple II, Apple II GS, and all this other stuff. They had a G, a C, a D. But those were the ones that you had to connect up with your TV.
That's what
with
made it revolutionary.
On the back. It's the rival to Commodore. I don't know how many of you remember Commodore computers.
Commodore 64 and
then they had a 128, and then they died. Right. You know, Apple had those, which is basically a keyboard and then a wire that connects, coax to your TV, and it's modulated on channel 3 or channel 4, depending on, which side of the switch you plug it up to. But the Mac was the first PC, as it's called, personal computer, which was meant to give IBM a run for its money.
All right.
May we continue with the ceremony?
In film, in movies, in 1927, we weren't alive. My grandma was too, though. Alfred Hitchcock releases his first film as director, The Pleasure Garden. And in sports, 1950, Jackie Robinson, speaking of the guy who got hate mail and hate overall for his race, Jackie Robinson signed the highest paid contract, which was $35,000 at the time in Dodger history. 1950, $35,000.
Well, in 1950, $35,000 went a long way. We're talking about in the 1950s, you used to go and buy a soda. Somebody Google this up and make sure I'm right. But you used to buy a soda for like a penny. Yeah, you used to go to the movies for 5 cents. And the only reason why I know that is because I was cool with most of my teachers throughout life. And Mr. Rosenberg was a music teacher. He was telling us about how he had saved up 25 cents and he took a girl on a date and still had 5 cents left over.
So what could he get with the other 5 cents?
And his ass
he can get her some ice cream or something.
Actually, in those days, he said he went to the movies. He did get a sundae, which is, I guess, kind of like a beaten down milkshake, that they shared, and he got 2 soda pops
for 5 cents.
Ain't that something? Wow. So I'd like to thank the guests today, Mike Anthony, Rob Tehran. Thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. We appreciate all you guys out there for listening to our show every week. And take care. Be safe. Wear your mask. Whether you think it's, real or not, because trust me, I think it's real. I know it's real. It's dangerous out there today, and you just gotta take as many precautions as possible. Don't politicize this stuff, and just be safe, take care of yourself. Until later, peace.